Welcome to Wannabe Clutter-Free, formerly Wannabe Minimalist, the podcast for busy families who are tired of the chaos, fed up with being overwhelmed, and ready to enjoy life again. Each week, we talk about how to let go of the clutter so that you can focus on the things that actually matter. And it's not just physical clutter. We talk about the mental and emotional stuff too, because if it's holding you back, it's time to ditch it. I share what I've done in my own life to declutter, organize, and calm the chaos, but you won't just hear it from me. There are amazing guests too. It's practical, doable, and simple for those of us that want to be clutter-free. Welcome to the Wannabe Minimalist Show, episode number 22. Today's episode takes a closer look at systems and the 4 most popular myths we hold about routines. Plus, we'll look at how to overcome them. Hey, Wannabe Minimalist friends. I'm your host, Deanna Yates, and today's topic is another one I discussed as a Facebook Live with my private Wannabe Minimalist group. Now, of course, I wanted to share this with you too, as we dive into some thoughts and ideas that might be holding you back in your life. And if you listened to my last episode, I think I got the sound issue figured out, so that's all fixed this time. Hello, little Greenbow and Wannabe Minimalist fans and friends. I am so excited to have you here today for another day in coronavirus, quarantine, shelter in place, self-isolation, all that fun stuff. But I am just really excited. Today we're going to talk about 4 myths that people believe about routines. And it's a really good one because if you feel the way about these routines, then you probably are holding yourself back. If you can let go of the sinking, it will give you a lot more freedom. So I look forward to these lives now because we are 97% of us in the US are under lockdown, and it just gives me an opportunity to connect with you. And if you don't know much about me, I am an extrovert. Probably not hard to guess. But I am that person that if you are in line at the grocery store and you are I'll just strike up a conversation with you, or at the park. And honestly, some of our best friends have been met at the park. So I really do want to be friends with everybody. And I do care when I actually talk to people. So I am an extrovert like that. But part of me is also an introvert. So when this whole quarantine thing started, it wasn't too bad at the beginning. But now that we have been home for so long, it's really starting to get on us, to wear on our family. But, we're in it for the long haul. And I want you all to commit to be in it too, because the best way for us to get out of this is to self-isolate and really just stick the course. So enough of my PSA. Let's get on with today. And I just want to say that, I really was thankful that I had kind of worked through a lot of these routines before before all of this quarantining and self-isolation had actually gone into effect, because it made it so much easier to have our home kind of running on autopilot before really, stuff hit the fan. So that's what I want to help all of you with today, is kind of helping you work through these ideas that routines can hold you back and give you that freedom. So there are 4 common myths that I see. So let's dive right in. The first one I see a lot is that people think routines are hard. That they're hard to get into place and things like that. Now, the truth is that anytime you try something new, it's going to feel strange. But just because something feels strange doesn't mean that it's hard or difficult. It's just different. And even if something is difficult, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not worthwhile. Think about one example from my life, teaching my daughter how to brush her teeth. Now, one would think that after 6 years of brushing your teeth twice a day, every day, this would be something that she could do on her own. And yes, she does brush her own teeth, but I still need to be somewhat present. Otherwise, there's lots of lollygagging. Those of you that are parents know this, and brushing teeth is not the funnest task in the world. I get that. But I don't slack off on it just because it's not fun. Instead, I try to have a different mindset around teeth brushing. And we do this together so that I can, 1, make sure that she's doing a good job. 2, I can demonstrate what good teeth brushing looks like. And then 3, I can make that boring task a little bit more fun when we do it together. Now, because this is something that we do twice a day, every day together, it's become a foundational 4 minutes that we spend together. And honestly, when we don't do it, like back in the days when we used to be able to go out on dates and things like that and have a babysitter, it would feel a little strange when she and I didn't brush our teeth together or something like that. So it's definitely something we miss if it's missed. And that's really how routines can work in your life. Even if they're hard at first, it's probably just because they're different. And when you first start them, it's like you're a toddler learning to walk. And we feel clumsy and it's not fun. As an adult, we don't want to feel like we're not in control or that we're bad at something. But as you create those right routines for your family and yourself, they will no longer feel hard, and your home will begin to flourish because of them, not in spite of them. So that is myth number 1, that routines are hard. Myth number 2 is that routines are constraining and restricting. Now, I find this myth especially invasive with busy moms. I mean, I get it. Kids just want to play and they want to be creative, and we think that routines will get in the way of that creativity and that fun. But just because you have routines in place doesn't mean that every day has to be the same. The routine can be there to fall back on. It's something that when things start to feel chaotic or out of control, that's when you can take comfort in the predictability of a routine. And that's what my family's doing now. We have some predictability, even when the whole rest of the world feels unstable and so much is going on. It's just so chaotic. We have those foundational routines in place. And that's what I want to help you with. Now, the other way I see people thinking about routines being too constraining is if you struggle with being a procrastinator. Now, if this is the case,
I'm Margaret.
And I'm Amy.
And together we host the podcast, What Fresh Hell? Laughing in the Face of Motherhood.
Margaret, I would say you're sort of a where are my keys kind of mom.
Correct. Sometimes a where are my kids kind of mom. Well, you're, Amy, more of a we were supposed to leave 35 seconds ago, mom.
I mean, touche. In each episode of What Fresh Hell, we come at a topic from our usually completely opposite perspectives. I bring the research.
And I bring kind of the gimlet eye. Like, is that research really going to work, people?
And almost 10 million downloads later, we're still laughing.
We also talk to experts in the parenting field, plus parents with stories we can all learn from.
We make each other laugh, we challenge each other's assumptions, and we have what we think is the best parenting community on the internet.
Check out What Fresh Hell? Laughing in the Face of Motherhood wherever you listen to podcasts.
You probably feel that routines have you locked into a certain way of doing things, and that you want to push back because it's easier just to kind of put it off and not search for the right routine or not try to dig into that right routine. This really tends to be the case with procrastinators, which I'm a recovering procrastinator, so I get it. This is not a dig on anybody else. But if you procrastinate, having that routine in place will actually give you way more freedom than you can imagine. And this happened with me because once I complete my routine or the one thing I had set up for the day, I really try to turn it off and then go do whatever I want. So if I have a work thing I need to get done, I need to send out an email, I need to do this, Facebook Live. Once this is done, I will go have fun for the rest of my day. And it just makes it way better. It gives me something to look forward to instead of constantly having something to do. And that's what routines can help you with. It's kind of like making your kids finish their homework before they get to play or watch TV. Your routine is like that loving reminder that you give your children to be responsible. Okay, maybe we nag way more than we would like to admit, but you get what I mean, right? Okay, so that's myth number 2, that routines are too constraining or restrictive. The third myth that I hear a lot of you saying is that my family will never stick to the routine that I want. Now, I want to point this out because it is worth saying in case you need this reminder. Now, your family is made up of different people, so it's important that you all work together as a unit. That means that not one opinion or way of thinking is more important than the other. Yours included, your kids included, your spouse included. And I struggled with this, sometimes I put other people's needs ahead of mine. And so that's something I have definitely worked on, those boundaries. I need to set the right boundaries and make sure that everybody's voice is being heard. Now, when I first became a mom, it felt like everything was a struggle. Absolutely everything. Just when I felt like we were in a groove, our daughter would hit another milestone, she'd be growing, and then we would be sent for a complete tailspin. It was exhausting, and I didn't know what to do. Now, all the experts say that children crave routines, but this was all new for us. So my husband and I had to take cues from our daughter that would work. Now, this wasn't that she was determining the schedule or that she was setting everything or that her opinion was more important, but she was the newborn and we were learning. And so we had to determine the best course based on what we felt was needed for our family. Now, we created routines so that she knew what to expect from our family unit. Things like brushing our teeth that we talked about, going to bed at a certain time, what time our meal plans were, and laying those boundaries and routines down so that she wouldn't freak out or just feel unsecure in our day-to-day actions. Now, within these routines, your children will feel safe. These boundaries allow them to explore, knowing that they're not going to stray too far. And the routines were the cornerstones that allowed our daughter to grow and feel comfortable, that everything was going to be okay, even when things felt strange and she was growing and she just didn't know what was going on. And it's contrary to what we believe, but the routine gives you that boundary so that you can feel safe. So even if you feel like your kids will push back against those routines, once they are established, if you have taken input from everybody in there, they will become part of that well-oiled machine and house maintenance and management. If you work with your spouse and your significant other to make sure you're on the same page, you can make this process successful for your whole family, yourself, your spouse, and your children. Okay? And that fourth myth that I hear is that routines will not work with an unpredictable schedule. But here's the thing about routines. They are just habits that are created around a group of actions. They are not set around a specific time of day. So getting ready for bed is a routine. Let's go back to that teeth brushing, right? So if I normally brush my teeth when I go to bed, which is generally around 10 p.m. on the weekdays, am I going to skip brushing my teeth because I go to bed at 11 p.m. on a Saturday? Absolutely not. Of course, I'm still going to brush my teeth. It's a routine that I have set up. So getting ready for bed is that routine. It's a habit that I have set in place, and it gets done regardless of whatever time I go to bed. Now, the truth is that the more full your life is and the more unpredictable your days, the more routines can give you purpose and ground your days. And nowadays, when we're going out less, we aren't spending as much time out of the house, things are a little more predictable and a little bit easier, but eventually we will leave the house and eventually we will get back to our crazy schedules. And even inside our homes, when we're having to deal with so much more stuff, a routine can really help ground you and center you and keep you more relaxed and more peaceful. So I really hope you found this helpful. I'm trying to keep it quick here today because I know that we are all busy and we all have lots going on, even though we are home. But I just, I really do believe that routines can, allow you to live for your family and not in spite of them. The busier you are, the more important these rhythmic habits and routines are for getting you off that hamster wheel of the chaotic and crazy house management. And now more than ever, when we are stuck at home and expected to do all the things that we were before the coronavirus even hit, run our households, raise our children, care for one another, on top of now all these new things that we're expected to do, like teach homeschool and cook every meal from home and work from home, all while trying to stay sane and healthy and just present for our families, routines really can be a lifesaver. And that is how we need to see routines for ourselves, our families, and our homes. All right, cheers. Have a good one.